What's up, guys? Jake Shields here with Sneako. So
thanks for having me.
Yeah, man. Thanks for coming on.
Good to be back. Good to see you again.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, we've known each other what, 2 years, year and a half, or something.
Something like that.
Yeah.
When was the last time you've been to Florida?
A couple months ago, not that long.
And you're here for this party?
Yeah, coming out with Pete, coming out something like I don't even know what you call this, some influencer thing, or some kind of mansion on the beach.
It was funny. As soon as I didn't know people were going to be here, I walked in and I could just tell everybody was from Twitter.
Yeah, right. It's like Twitter world, all the big Twitter people.
Yeah, it's the way they talk. Like everyone speaks in like
Twitter language.
Yeah, Twitter language.
It's a little weird.
Making jokes about like Mein Kampf, and some guy with the MAGA hat said "Salam Alaikum." I'm like, oh, this is Twitter.
Yeah, you forget Twitter's not the real world if you're on there too much.
You really do. I spend about like 6 hours a day on Twitter. I'm addicted to Twitter for sure.
I cut my time way down. Before I was on there way too much, but then I got demonetized. It's probably a good thing. So I'm like, all right, before I could use that as an excuse, like, oh, I'm making good money on Twitter, I'm working. But now I'm like, all right, I cut down to like an hour or something now.
Well, you still are working. That's the bad part, because influence still brings you revenue.
You're right.
So more people are going to find you. You get more services there, more guests on your podcast.
No, exactly. So I need the big Twitter, and that's how I rationalize it that way.
How much were you making before you were demonetized?
I think around $10K a month.
When did that stop?
It stopped like about 3 months ago. They never sent me an email saying why. I appealed, no response.
I've been making like $200 a month since the monetization started. I don't know like what you're doing.
Yeah, mine was good. I know it was better than a lot of people. I don't know why. I know I do get good metrics, but then maybe there's other factors, because some people get paid. It's weird how differently people get paid. I'll see like those weird gay Jewish brothers. What are they? That cost
the crabs and scenes.
They'll say they get like $30 or something, and I don't like those guys, but that's ridiculous. They're not getting paid.
They only get $30.
They posted something like that. Maybe I'm misquoting. Maybe it's like $100. But those guys, they might be dorks, but they still should be getting paid fairly.
I mean, I don't know if they're really getting engagement like that. I see them everywhere, but I don't know if they're that popular. I thought that they would be sucking up to Elon a lot. I'm surprised it's that low.
No, I know they do, so I'm surprised it's that low. But then you'll see other accounts that aren't that big, and they'll be like, I got 20,000 this time period.
Who's getting $20,000?
Some Asian girl posted something like that. That was like 200,000 followers. Like the last couple weeks, like the last couple payouts. Like I'm not gonna say it. Maybe she's friends with Elon.
Well, regardless, it's like I don't want to use any other social media apps. That's the best place for videos right now.
Yeah.
I don't even watch YouTube really.
Oh, no, I don't either. We was joking about it. It's funny. I have a podcast, and I don't watch podcasts.
You don't watch YouTube videos?
It's only what I see on the clips, like on
the same
Twitter.
Thing. So all I do is watch clips. It's like the best thing is to.
That's the only time I like see you, and like remember Aiden called. Like, know who Aiden is? I'm like, yeah, because I've seen clips of you. Never. Otherwise, I'd have no idea.
Are you still going to do that fight? I mean, he's kind of AWOL, but
he hasn't really called and contacted about it. I saw like a flyer with me on there. It would have to be, to fight, it would have to be like, decent pay, because I've done like serious fights for a lot of years. So to come and do an influence, I mean, if they're paying real money, I would hop in and do it. And I would want to fight a real fighter too, not like some YouTube guy, like someone like Tyrone Woodley or a Rabbi Lawler, an OG of the sport. So it doesn't make sense for me to fight unless it's another real fighter, and the pay's got to be decent.
He's kind of went away right now. He's quitting gambling, so he's like trying to renegotiate. I got him to. Well, he credits me for like helping him quit gambling. So
that's great, because
he's a good guy.
Yeah, because he's a good friend of yours. I know you're a good guy, so probably is. No, gambling is a real problem for a lot of people. It's good he's quitting. I saw a thing where Dana was talking about how much he gambles, and if Dana's saying that, you're like, oh, that must be a problem.
Every time I go to that Red Rock Casino, he's there. He's known as a high. I've seen him gamble like $500,000, like millions of dollars. Blackjack.
And the majority of people are losing money, not winning. Maybe the few exceptions like Dan Bilzerian, but that's poker. On blackjack, you can't really win long term.
I mean, that's the game is designed to. The probability that you win is 47%.
Yeah.
So, I mean, by definition, most people are going to lose.
Even if you play perfectly, the odds are still against you. So even if you're an amazing blackjack player, you're still at a slight disadvantage.
47%. Yeah. I mean, you don't need to be a good blackjack player. You could just ask the dealer. If you ever play, you could just say, dealer, what does the book say? And they know they have the book memorized. It's not that hard to memorize it.
But yeah, they stack the odds against you, so you can't. The only game you can win on is poker. But you have to be really, really good.
Really good. Is Dan that good at poker?
He is, but he said it's gotten a lot harder to make money, because he said people are way better than when he first started playing, because there's all this software that teaches you. People can learn online. So he said it's way harder to make money now than it used to be. Dan's also smart though. He doesn't necessarily always go try and win the tournaments. He goes in, he'll go play with ballers that aren't that good and jack their money. He'll come home with, well, I'm not talking about his finances, but he does really well sometimes. He's had some nights where he came home and seen some good chunks of money, and I'm like, holy shit.
Yeah, millions.
Yeah, millions, exactly. Nights where he came home with millions of dollars.
That's the problem with a lot of these skill-based games, that the skill level has rise for everybody.
Yeah.
Like Call of Duty, everyone's an expert now. Chess, for example, if you play online, everyone's just memorized every move. So there's not like a room for normal people to get in. You have to start from zero and then immediately get to expert level very, very quickly.
Yeah, no, he said when I don't know, we started like 20 years ago, he said it was hella easy to make money, but now he says you got to be really, really good.
Even against the celebrities he plays, because I see him in the celebrity games.
Well, I think that's where he probably cleans up sometimes. Or I think one night there was some really famous soccer player there for a week. I know he cleaned up that week. And, it's funny, I see people online being like, "Oh, Dan's broke now." Like the kind of money I see him coming home with, only too broke to me. Like flying around private jets and chefs. And
who's saying he's broke?
People online are always saying that. It's so weird.
Yeah, I mean, there's people just want to hate for whatever.
No, it is weird. Well, we all get haters, I guess, but it's so weird. I remember, like, first I hang out with Dan, people are like, "Why are you hanging out with that grifter?" I'm like, "Dude, such like a good, like, honest dude." Well, same with you. You get a lot of hate, but I've known you for a couple of years. You've been like so loyal. You're trustworthy. We talk about things privately. You're not going to spill it. If I ask for a favor, you do it without thinking. And then I see all these guys always hating on you. It makes no sense to me. Like,
it's because my industry is not. It's a different world. It doesn't incentivize that. Loyalty is not something that exists within the streaming world.
So weird. I saw this guy Fauci, he's like claiming you drinking, sleeping with girls, but I've hung out with you a bunch of times, never seen you do this stuff. And it's like, whether you did or didn't, which I've never seen you do this stuff, but you just say stuff like that with someone who's supposedly your friend is just such a dirtbag, scummy thing to do. Like, it's amazing guys are like that.
Yeah, I mean, that was unfortunate to see. He's older too. He's like 35. But that's the nature of streaming, because that gets a lot of clicks. People think
that's true. I saw that.
Yeah, you saw it. So whatever gets clicks, whether it's good or bad, people have this idea that all press is good press. That's not true. Bad press is bad. You don't want to have negative attention around you. But if you're streaming, it's just about views. It doesn't matter if they're good views or bad views, because a lot of people will be watching like a kick stream and they're just ready to see somebody get in a car crash, or they're just watching the stream because they want to see him get shot or get punched in the face. These aren't supporters. This is negative. This is the evil eye watching you at all times. But as they're still making money from that, so they've been trained to think it's good.
Yeah, a guy like that personally, like, I would never do anything with a guy. If you're going to sit there and talk crap about someone that's been friends with for years, I want nothing to do with people like that. I find those people disgusting.
Yeah, but he's kind of he's in a different scenario right now. He's kind of a manic, and
so that gets a little tricky. I had a friend that went crazy before, and he talked a little crap, and I forgave him because the mental issues. So
and then he did it again.
He didn't do it a second time, but he did go crazy again. He talked crap on other people, not me. So it does suck when you see those situations. So it can get a little tricky, like you said, if you're having a manic episode. But it's just not okay.
Yeah, the first time I had a friend that went manic, I forgave him. Went away, mental hospital, all this stuff. They came out, and then did it again. Like after twice, no matter how crazy you are, or manic, or bipolar, twice done. Like No,
I have to agree. It's very important you surround good people in your life. I'm very selective who I let in my circle, and I think most people are successful because there's just so many scumbags that just want to use you and take and never give back. Like they'll always ask favors, and all of a sudden you ask for a favor back. Like, oh, I can't get that. Can't do that. I hate people like that.
Who do I get one-way favors?
Yeah, you probably get a lot of that in your industry, I bet.
Yeah, no, that happens to me quite a bit. Like I help out a lot of people, and I try to like connect people and do them favors. I've made a lot of people a lot of money.
You've been great connecting me with things, but I'm the same way. I do it, and I get burned sometimes too. You ask someone, "Hey, can you do this?" And they just don't do it back for you.
Yeah, people they think very individualistic. They just want to benefit their own career. And they don't. That does have that. You're right. That's very commonplace. But I still do. I like to do good things regardless.
I think in the long run, though, it hurts them because in the long run, people like you, the relationships you'll keep will be over years. A lot of these people will be always burning relationships.
The streaming world. I mean, you want to get into it, but it's. I want to get out. It's actually funny that you're getting into it, but I'm ready to leave. I think maybe 1-2 years left of the amount of stream. I just stream right before coming here too. I'm always, and I'm going to go live again tonight. I'm always live, but being watched like that at all times is just not.
Yeah, I know. I definitely do not want to get in like you do. I want to do like mild amount. I'm more podcast, do like a tiny bit of streaming. You stream like all the time. Remember one day we streamed for like 10 hours, 10, 12 hours. I was exhausted after that.
And it's really draining.
Yeah,
I know. It's funny you say that.
Camera the whole time. It's like so exhausting because you. Not fake, but you have to be a little bit. It's different when cameras on versus they aren't. And we were just doing random shit, but like 10 hours, I'm like, dude, how do you do this all the time? I'm like exhausted after this.
It's funny hearing you say that because there's always this debate going about whether a 9-to-5 job is harder than streaming. But if you're doing 10 hours of streaming, you're like, it's very draining.
Tough.
Yeah,
it's tough.
At least you can vouch because they think that it's nothing.
No, I mean, I'm not saying it's a bad job. I would probably prefer to do that, but it drained me. Maybe I'm not used to the cameras because it's just like constantly having this camera in my face for that many hours. It was like, by the time I'm done, I'm like, oh oh my God, I need to go relax. But I'm kind of naturally kind of introvert, so I have to like train myself to be more outgoing. And that was just a lot of time to like, oh, you constantly got to be talking and entertaining the crowd. And yeah, I don't think it's an easy job at all.
How did you get your social battery to go up like that? Because you strike me as a naturally introverted guy.
I think I just kind of forced myself to start going out and talking to people, and then you grow more confidence. Like when I was young, I was extremely introverted, and I just kind of kept forcing myself to do it and get more comfortable.
It's something that you got to train.
Yeah, you got to go out and force it, you know? Like people, it's not, I mean, still sometimes it'll be like, oh shit, it's hard to go and talk to people, but I force myself to do it. I think so people, you can't change it, you know? And some people, I'm not on the extreme end of introvert. Some people it's harder, but there's times where after people, well, I'm like, I need to go be alone sometimes. Like, oh, I'm drained. I need to go be alone for like an hour or two.
That was me when I used to do meetups in London in the park, and people would come, and afterwards I was so drained after talking to everybody, I would just like need to sit in the car in silence and just like not like just like mummified, not even asleep, but just completely quiet.
Meetups are one of the most exhausting things we could do. The reason is you're probably the same, because I figure people that are coming out to meet me, sometimes standing in line for an hour, every person I want to give them my full energy. So after a couple hours of that, I'm just completely wiped out. I would have to do the same thing. I'd have to just go be myself. Like I need to go somewhere for like an hour by myself and just like decompress.
In a way, and there were other people in the car, I had the cameraman afterwards and whatever, and I just like, it was almost like I was depressed, not depressed, but just like they wanted to talk on it. I had no emotion, nothing.
These things like sound ridiculous, people don't know, but if you think if someone's in line to see you, they're a huge fan, you have to give that, or you should give that person energy. Some people don't. I see sometimes these guys are famous guys because they wait in line for like hours to see them. They're just kind of like, next person. I'm like, wow, that's kind of fucked up. Like this guy like looks up to you, and that's the only energy you give them.
Yeah, I mean, they probably drove like 40 minutes to an hour or something like that. They waited. They were watching other people like talk in line. You know, they really want to get that moment. But even after that meetup, people like follow me to the car, and I'm in the parking lot already like tired.
It can be exhausting, but the one time you don't do the picture or something, then they hate you, and it sucks.
I know.
There's been a few times you're just not in the mood, and you like run off or something, and then the person's like, oh, what a jerk.
I mean, if you're on stream too and you don't give somebody the interaction, the chat gets angry. Like, look how he treats the fans. Look how evil of a person
good, but overall, no, it's hard at times, and you know, like not that famous. But I was actually really surprised how famous you are going out with you. Considered I didn't realize you were that famous when you first came to interview me. I barely knew who you were with no YouTube and stuff. When you go out and you just get recognized everywhere, I'm like, you managed to get huge despite no YouTube. How do you think you've done that?
It's got to be the clips. That's all it is. Like people still come up to me. They always say like, oh, that's a YouTuber. When I travel abroad, and then like someone's parents don't know who I am, they're like, oh, that's a YouTuber. They always describe me as a YouTuber, but 99% of the people, they're just seeing clips. Yeah. So I got banned at the right time, where everything shifted and people stopped watching videos and people were more just gonna scroll like you. Like nobody watches.
Or Twitter, or let's say us, we only use Twitter.
Or no one's using podcasts, or it's just TikTok. So I got banned at the right time. Trump is saying that we might get reinstated in January for the people that were banned for misinformation. That's going to be, I'm really looking forward to that if I get back, because I know you saw me get reinstated on YouTube for like about 12 hours and then banned right again.
I know, I was so happy for it. Like, oh great, Sneako got his page back, and then he got banned. What do you think? That was so weird. What was that?
I appealed, and then I think maybe just an employee shut it off or something like that.
It had to be someone didn't like you. We got to pull this guy out.
There's people like that on every website. It happens. I have it on Kick. I just started streaming on Kick, and there's like moderators who don't like me, and I got deleted. I got banned for the stupidest thing. Someone wore a Hitler costume on Halloween. I got banned for hate speech. You know, it's literally Halloween.
But you weren't even in the costume.
It wasn't even me in the costume. So it's like, wait. So if someone plays Call of Duty and there's a swastika, is that hate speech? If I'm watching a documentary about Nazi Germany, is that hate speech because there's a swastika? Like, what's the description?
No, it's history. That's when it's always so weird to me that you can't talk about anything World War II. The Holocaust. It's like, why can't we talk about these things? We could talk about the communists. We could talk about Mao. We could talk about Stalin, who did mass murders. I could dress up as Mao or Stalin, and it wouldn't be cast. They killed way more people than the Nazis. It's so strange.
But yeah, he's the symbol of hate speech. So every website there's someone. But the YouTube, imagine, because I started YouTube when I was 13. 10 years on YouTube. Even before I was streaming, I was making videos, and then I get banned. I lose everything. They wipe my whole channel.
Jeez.
It's gone for 2 years, and then I get it back for one day.
You were probably so happy. I was happy when I saw it. Like, oh, it's awesome. So you got his page back. He's really going to blow up now. And then boom, gone.
And then you lose it again. It's like people, I describe it to people like, imagine being with the most beautiful girl ever, like a 10 out of 10 dime piece, and then you lose her, like the one that got away. And then you get her back for one night, and then she's gone again. Like that, that's separate, but it's fine. It's not I still have hope that I think it's going to come back in 2025.
Well, yeah, you managed to be really big without it, like we were saying, so you'll be fine. Hopefully you'll get it back. But like I said, you've adapted and gotten big without YouTube. You'd be bigger with YouTube, but you can survive without about him, it shows.
It's not even really that much about you. It's just the catalog. Because I've been doing it for so long. It was like a diary of my whole life on that channel. Just to have that back and be able to see that. That's what I really want.
Yeah. So what made you start at 13?
I mean, it's the same reason I think people are getting into it now. It was just really interesting to be able to communicate with an audience, to just have a laptop and a camera and be able to travel around and do that. That's always what spoke to me. And I saw it as the future, and I was right. Like I bet everything on that when I was younger. I'm like, this is going to be the next big thing. I think streaming is going to continue to explode. Yeah. It's taking over TV. Nobody watches.
No, I don't watch TV.
I mean, even this election proved it. Like, all the influence has gone to the streamer, to the influencer, to the podcaster, to the YouTuber now. The celebrities that endorse Kamala, they lost.
Yeah, right.
That's the one who, the celebrity guard, the old guard, Beyonce's, Cardi B, Marvel movie people, Robert De Niro, they all endorsed Kamala Harris because they thought that we're the most famous ones, and they lost. No, the people that endorse Trump are like Aiden Ross, Theo Von, Joe Rogan, me, these people. So that proves that has a bigger, even though he might not be as famous, so that's a real connection. And that's more valuable. Like, yeah, people know who you are. People know who Beyonce is, and no one cares what she thinks about politics. People want to listen to people that they trust. There's no trust in a Marvel celebrity. There's trust in the influencer.
Yeah, that's actually kind of why I started a podcast, because, Twitter, you can get some things out, but Twitter's also divisive. You kind of shit post on there, or at least I do. Yeah. So it's not a good place to get, messages. But podcast, you can be more real, honest. So I'm like, you know what? I don't like most of the current podcasts. They're not speaking truth. Why not start my own thing? I can we can bypass them now and start our own media and get bigger than the big media. I think in a year or two, I'll be bigger than the viewerships on CNN and stuff.
You will. I mean, Elon Musk said it. He said, you are the media now. And he's right. Elon Musk did a great job with buying Twitter. I think that really was instrumental in winning the election.
Yeah, it's been so great. I mean, there's been things, obviously I'm critical of some things about Elon, but overall it's been amazing that he bought that, sacrificed money for free speech. It's not full free speech, but it's way closer to anything else. I didn't even realize it because I don't use other platforms, but then I'll put my clips in other places and they get flagged and pulled down. And that's when I start realizing, like, oh, there's a big difference between Twitter and Instagram and TikTok and these places.
All of them. Yeah, so I kind of dialed back the criticism of Elon. There's no point. Like, the guy's doing so much good, so might as well focus on the good things.
No, he's done so much good. I might get minor criticism against him because that's fine, but overall he's been a huge net good for society, and he's done so many different things too. Helped launch PayPal, Tesla. I know people hate on him. I think they're great cars. SpaceX. Like, it's amazing what this guy's done.
And Chris Pavlovsky with Rumble. That was really important. I think Rumble had more live viewers on election night than YouTube. More people were on that website because YouTube has no free speech. I think they're starting to realize that, like, shutting people out and trying to push one narrative doesn't work. People were surprised. If you look at the map after the election, seeing how red it is all over the country, if you just look at TikTok or Instagram, you would think that it would be all LGBT liberal. That's not the case. Young male voters really came out in flocks to vote for Trump.
Oh yeah, things are changing. And yeah, Rumble too. Rumble is great. Some of my videos do better on Rumble than YouTube. Overall, like some ones do way better on YouTube, like fighters and stuff like that, but some of the political ones have more views on Rumble. It's pretty crazy. I'm like, oh, Rumble's getting way bigger.
It's going to keep getting bigger during the Trump administration too. I was in your vote before, but the last 2 weeks when he was campaigning, I decided, I'm like, Trump's the better option. And
I've been really happy with Trump for the last couple of weeks. I've been very critical of him for the same reasons we've had. I've gone really back and forth if I was going to vote for him or not. I ended up, not registering last minute, so I didn't vote. But last minute, I was like, oh, I kind of wish I would to vote for him. So I was really back and forth. We were very similar on our views with him, and so he gave that great speech about censorship. And I hope I'm completely wrong about him, and I'll be the first, I'll apologize and be like, wow, I never told anyone not to vote for him. Anyone asked who should vote for, I said he's clearly better than Kamala. So I never told anyone not to vote for him, but it's like, I hope he does great and proves me wrong. We'll see. We'll see over the next couple of years.
I'm 2 for 2. I've only voted in 2 elections. I didn't vote for him in 2020 because I didn't like his campaign in 2020. Yeah. But I voted in 2016 and when I was in high school, and I voted again for this election. So
I voted for both the first 2 times and then skipped this one. So, but I hope he proves me wrong. I never did against him, but I still hope he does way better than I suspect.
What do you want to see? What do you want to see this first year?
The censorship thing will be massive that he said he wants to do. I want to see that. Hopefully, the cut taxes a little bit, and maybe not major, but a small tax cut. We're not going to get a big tax cut realistically. Close the borders. The open borders are insane. Hopefully he does that. I would love to cut funding to Israel and Ukraine in the Ukraine war and the Israeli war. Those 2 are massive to me. I don't think the Israel war is the one that I really want ended, and that's the one he was pushing for too much.
The Palestine government already said that they wanted to end the war. As soon as Trump was elected, they reached out and said, let's let's call it quits. I'm very hopeful. I'm more, I don't know, just driving around since Trump elected, feels good to have Trump back, like have this guy in charge.
It felt good when he won, I'm not going to lie. It felt really good he won, you know. I'm not going to say I didn't have doubts, like, oh, maybe I should have gone and voted, but hey, he won anyways.
Yeah, I'm very optimistic I feel more patriotic than before. It was good to see people do the right thing, and then funny to see liberals cry.
Yeah, I love that part. It's kind of funny. I think I'm the only one not wearing a MAGA hat at this party. It's kind of funny.
I know, I walked in, people have the dark MAGA hats and everything. There's a lot of people here.
But I feel like I couldn't have put one on if I didn't vote for him. That'd be just too fake.
I mean, you're still supporting.
I know I am happy he won, and I'm feeling optimistic. He gave the speech yesterday the other day about censorship, and it was great. I'm like, wow, this is, this maybe it's going to be way better than I thought.
And you voted for him twice. You can put it on. We won't judge you.
Fair.
You voted for him twice. I mean, the election night was that was monumental. That was fun. I mean, you called in a bit for that stream, but I think that was one of my best streams ever.
It was just such a blowout. We were going to do a stream together, but I think you were smart. Your last minute, you're like, oh, I'm going to go celebrate instead. And that brings me to this moment. You had an encounter with, what's his name? Rabbi Shmuley.
Yeah.
That basically with him, you don't really have to talk. He's such a fool. He just made a complete fool of himself. Like, what happened there?
So there was a big gathering at Rockefeller Center in New York. That's where all the flags are and the ice rink is. And I showed up there, just ready to support Trump. I'm there with the American flag. I didn't want to talk about Israel Palestine because I wanted all the focus to be on Trump. I was trying to generate votes last second, and get that last push in, encouraging people and making sure that the narrative is good and to celebrate the win. And I see Rabbi Shmuley. I see with the big, he's walking around, he's filling around, he has a giant Israel flag around him. I had my American flag racked on him. It was like a polar opposite. It's him with the Israeli flag. And I see him I tell the chat, I'm like, I see there's Rabbi Shmuley. And they're all saying, go press him. But I'm like, this is not the place. I don't want to cause a big scene. I don't want to take away attention from Trump. So I'm just standing here. And then he walks over to me and comes to my space, kind of like Israel. He comes in and immediately plays victim. He starts, because my bodyguard's right here. I have to go bodyguard in public sometimes. And my bodyguard whispers to me like, yo, do you want me to end this conversation? And he's like, what are you saying? You want to cancel? You want to kill me? You want to shoot me? He's the worst I feel bad for Jews because I love Jews. And he embodies all the negative stereotypes in one person.
I posted that clip and someone was like, he's the #1 cause of anti-Semitism.
Because he sells dildos with his daughter. It sounds like I'm joking. He actually has a mom, and he bragged about it. He's like, I'll give you the mom and pop discount. And I think he just made himself look terrible. He's pointing around and yelling.
Absolutely terrible.
He tried all the tactics, victimize himself, create division. He's like, oh, how are you as a black man going to be working for white supremacist Sneako? He's like, what do you think about black people? I'm like, I am black. He had nothing.
No.
I think he embarrassed himself. And I'm surprised he posted it himself too, and everybody's roasting him. It almost is like, how people say, oh, this guy's a Mossad agent to try to infiltrate. It's almost like he's a Hamas agent designed to make Israel terrible.
We hired him to make Jews
look bad. That's how bad. And he's the biggest Israeli apologist, I think, in America. He's the one debating for them so bad. The fact that he came over there with all these slimy tactics and looked so bad against me, where I wasn't even prepared on the subject, I don't think that's good for them. And hopefully, I think that debate wakes up a lot of the Trump supporters. I think they're able to see that, because everybody who votes for Trump wants to put America first. How are we going to put America first while giving all this money to Israel?
Yeah. Well, the fact that he's walking around Israel flag, this is a problem. Like I said, I have nothing against Jews, but I've noticed a lot of Jews, they put Israel before America. And to me, that's just not okay. You should have an American flag. You shouldn't be walking around with an Israeli flag. That's just
It's an American election. It's not an Israeli election. So why is this flag even there? Nobody points that out. If somebody showed up to that election party with a Moroccan flag or whatever flag, be like, what are you doing here? This is this day to celebrate America. We have our country back finally. Get this flag out of here.
I agree. This was actually the reason I didn't vote for Trump. He kept giving things in front of Israel flags. He posted pictures of Israel flags, and that was the issue that made me decide not to do it. Like I said, I still think it's great that he won. It's a net good, but that was why I just can't put my name behind this.
No, it was pretty egregious towards the end. There was a lot of, he was next to a lot of his flags. He was there with the Rabbi Schneerson at that. That
was the tunnel ones too. It wasn't just regular Jews. It was those Jews that dug the tunnels. It's the one that dug the tunnels. The guy that started that branch, he basically said that only Jews souls or non-Jew souls were satanic, but basically go to hell.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, it's completely insane, and Trump went there.
Yeah, it was pretty egregious towards the end. But I think that, we were speaking this right before. If you read The Art of the Deal, Trump knows how to get people on your side. I think he's very diplomatic, and I think he knows how to appease people's egos better than other politicians. That's why I think Trump did so well geopolitically in his first term, was that he understands business negotiations, where half of getting a good deal is just appealing to someone's ego. Making them feel present, making making them feel, giving them validation. If you give someone the right validation in a negotiation, they're going to give you so much more money. They're going to want to work with you. If you make them feel good and you tell them like, oh yeah, you're a star, or you're the best businessman, you say whatever they want to hear, they're going to work with you. Other politicians are not able to do that because they're not diplomatic. That's why he was so good, is because he comes from that business background.
Yeah, I really hope I was wrong about Trump, and I'll be the first to say, hey, I fucked up, and praise the guy. So it's very possible. That'd be great if he goes out and just does great for America. Overall, he's going to be better America for sure. It's going to thrive. America's not doing that well right now. I mean, like, we're both on the upper end, and doing fine financially, but people are struggling. Like, if you go to the grocery store and stuff, you see the prices sometimes. The average wage is not that high.
No.
If you're like a person trying to feed a family by yourself, it's like almost like the mother has to work too, and it shouldn't be like that. The mother's be able to stay home and take care of the kids, but we're in a situation where most families can't do that nowadays, and that's
the average salary is like $50,000.
Yeah, and I couldn't imagine living off that. It's just like you can't barely eat and stuff. You can't go to restaurants. You can't really do much on that.
No, in Miami, like the lifestyle that I live and that most people around me live, like if you're making $50K a month, even then it's just like, dude, step it up,
No, it's crazy because we're like that. We're in cities, people doing well. So yeah, we're looking at maybe a little crazy perspective, but exactly, you start hanging with rich people when you start doing well and you start feeling poor. You're like on Dan's private jet, being like, damn, I need to do a lot better.
Yeah, why do I not have a private jet?
Why don't I have a private jet like this?
Yeah, that's true. You really forget. It really puts you away from the average person being around these people all the time, for sure.
Yeah. I think it's good for me though. It's motivated me because I was really comfortable, living like semi-retired from fighting, not working that hard, and started hanging out with him. There's another rich Jewish guy, Derek Moneyberg, doing a little work for him. These guys are just so wealthy, and I'm like, I need to step it up a little bit. These guys have so much money. Like why can't, if these guys can do it, why can't I step it up? So I think it's good to see that sometimes these guys are just doing so well.
Yeah, if you're the richest person in a room, you're in the wrong room. And you want to be, if you're the smartest person, you want to be around people that are going to motivate you and push you. And there's so many ways to make money online now, so there's so many different opportunities. So you got to stay on your toes at all times. I don't want to get complacent.
You do. Like, that happened to me because I had a good fighting career, successful. So there's a year or two, but I wasn't happy when I wasn't working hard. COVID hit. I wasn't really I couldn't really do anything. You're not doing anything, and as a man, it's like you're not really happy. That's why I started new projects, and it's like that's why I'll start a podcast. I'll make this successful. Start new. I think as men, we always need projects. It's like we're meant to do more, and it's not just money you're chasing. It's chasing being good at something.
Yeah, that's how men operate. I've noticed a lot of athletes they retire, they get really fat, start doing drugs, they start becoming gambling addicts stuff. How did you avoid that? Did you get lazy when you first started slowing down?
Question. I kept working out. It's when COVID hit. I'm not a depressive person, but that was probably the most depressed I've been because everything got closed down. I had so much energy, no work, no projects. So it was tough for a few months. There was like a week or so where I started drinking to myself. I was going home drinking at night by myself, and I go, wow, I need to stop this right away. This is not healthy. And I cleared out all the alcohol, but I just could see, I understood this is what can happen to people. I was just so bored. No one was hanging out. I had no job, wasn't working online, nothing to do. So it's not fun. But I think for me, I just started finding a lot of projects. I started training fighters, started finding new things to do. You gotta always have goals. Even though I was like financially, I want to make a lot more money, but I was in a situation where I financially could have retired if I wanted to live a normal life. But it's like, for a year, I'm like, oh, I'm retired. And I'm like, this is boring. I need to start working again.
Yeah, I don't think that I'm going to ever be able to operate like that. People tell my dad, for example, he asked me like, when are you going to retire? I have a couple properties now. I could. I could live on crypto's booming right now. Exactly. Another reason that Trump is successful. I'm very happy.
I wish I had more crypto.
Ethereum's at 3,000 right now. Bitcoin's at an all-time high.
So I haven't checked the prices. So
you have some crypto?
Not a ton, but I have some. I have more Ethereum than Bitcoin, so that's good to hear.
Yeah, it's Zoom. All the altcoins are going up, so just everything's going well. And I could. But I don't know what I would do. I think the trick is probably just finding a way to let your work, work for you. So instead of you constantly having to slave away, where your lifestyle that you want to live peacefully becomes your work.
Yeah, I'm happy working. Like right now, I'm working a lot. I don't want to be working this long forever because I'm doing a lot of stuff in the fight business and launching the podcast. The podcast was way more work than I realized. So I'm doing it by myself. Like all the back end stuff, booking the guests, the editing. Like finally just hired someone. Like this is way more work than I realized I was taking on. But it's fun. I enjoy it. I think in a year I'll have some more employees. We'll be running itself, but it's fun taking these projects on.
Do you know happy retired people?
Not that I really can think of.
Happy retired men?
A lot of men die when they retire.
Yeah, right? It's funny seeing too, because I was watching Trump's speech about censorship, and it clicked in my head, like, this guy's 78 years old. And the way he's speaking, the way, like, we need to get rid of the radical left, and he just finished the campaign nonstop, probably got barely any sleep.
Right.
He doesn't eat that well. he's all fighting different wars on every front. You know, he has to meet, like right after he won, he's met with Caitlyn Jenner. Putin wants to call him. Biden wants to get lunch. And then he's giving a speech. I'm like, this guy's 78. And he's still, this is the way to live.
No, I'm so impressed with his energy. It's insane how much energy that guy has. And he didn't age. Presidents always,
he looks good.
After, he didn't look better.
He looks good for 78 years old. He doesn't seem senile. Biden at the same thing was completely declining. I would like to do the same. And it also puts into perspective how much time we have as men. I think people have this idea when you get like 50, that's when you should start retiring. But this guy is like well past that. And he's still more active and doing more than most 20-year-olds and teenagers. So there's no point in slowing down. What else are you going to do?
Yeah, you can always pivot and do new things. Like I'm doing something like a podcast, totally weird and random, but it's like it's new. But for how new it is, it's already doing good. It's like anything I put energy to, I know will succeed. I'm the type of person, if I put energy to something, it's going to succeed. It's just fun taking on new things. I don't want to sit around and do nothing. But what do you do? Go to a beach? That's fun for a couple of days.
And then
you're depressed.
That's it. And then you're fat. And then if you're not doing anything, you're naturally going to go to vices. Like if that beach thing, there's a week before you start getting drunk every day.
No, and if I'm not careful, I can slip into that. I can slip into a style that's not good. I used to have problems with never had drug problems, but you could dabble, or you can fall into womanizing and stuff. This is not healthy and good.
You're always going to fall into some sort of distraction because you need to apply yourself somewhere.
No, that's what's interesting. I noticed you took up fighting, a year or so ago, learning trying. That's awesome, learning new skills when you're already a successful man. That's one of the hardest things you can do is learn to fight.
Yeah, I just trained with this guy, Slim. He's got a fight in Qatar at the end of the month. I think it's a Misfits card or something like that. This guy's he picked up boxing when he was 25, and pretty quick he's like 7-0. So it's not too late. A lot of guys. Alex Pereira, when did he start becoming active in fighting?
He fought for a while, but he switched to MMA a couple years ago, and he's the champ.
Yeah,
he's
a couple years ago.
Devastating, destroying people. Well, he was already a world championship kickboxer, but still, I'm really surprised how fast he switched over.
But even for kickboxing, didn't he start 25, 26?
I actually don't know that. I would think that's wrong, but I could be totally off on that. It's insane if he does.
He got in late. So
yeah, he may have, man. He's insanely good. This power that guy has, and he's one of the best fighters pound for pound right now, just destroying people.
Probably is. I mean, the best light heavyweight, huh?
But yeah, currently for sure. Yeah, I mean, he's just destroying people, knocking everyone out. I bet on him a few times and got some good pays on those.
Yeah.
Look at those odds. Like, this guy's gonna win.
That guy's face got messed up. Who did he?
That Roundtree. That guy. That was a good fight though. It was a better fight than I thought because I bet on Pereira, and it was starting to be a close fight. I was a little worried because he was a big favorite. You don't bet in big favors, but then he knocked him out in the 4th round.
Are you up on sports betting? That's becoming so popular with guys now. They love this.
Okay, I'm not a huge gambler, but right now at the moment, I've done great this year. I don't do huge bets because what I do. There was one point where I was doing really well, but then I started over forcing bets on cards. Now I just look at the cards. And if I see, because I know the sport really well, sometimes I'll look at it and won't place a single bet. Sometimes I'll look at it and be like, these odds seem off. Plus I get a lot of inside information, tips. I know people. I've seen the guys train. I know the other guys. So I've done great this year. I should be putting more money down, but I'm just not a naturally big gambler. Putting down like $500 and stuff.
But winning is winning.
But I'm still way up this year.
Yeah. When you gamble and you win, you're like, I should have put more.
But then if I start placing more, then I might start losing.
And then you lose and you're like, fuck, I should have never gambled.
Yeah, I think overall gambling is such a bad habit. That's why I put smaller bets, but I've done great this year in gambling.
Sometimes it's annoying because I always get the cards right. Like every time I predict a card, my calling has been like 95% accurate. I would make so much money sports betting, but I can't because it's wrong. It's super annoying, but I mean it's protected for a reason.
Is it in Islam? Is it strongly opposed to gambling, or is it?
Yeah, gambling is one of the major sins.
Okay, yeah.
But sports betting is not. It is.
If it's in the thing, you just shouldn't do it. It's not really good. It's hard beating the bookies anyways because you're paying a percentage to play. People don't realize.
That's true.
If it's dead even, you're still paying 10-15% just to place the bet. And the more the odds shift, the higher the percentage you pay. A lot of people aren't really aware of that.
It's 10-15. That's really high.
Well, let's say if it's dead, if a fight's dead even, they'll usually both be negative 115 or something. So you're paying 15% just to place the bet. And a lot of people aren't even aware of that. They're not realizing that they're paying just to place the bet.
So just be the bookie.
So the bookie, exactly. And the bookies are pretty good too. So they're good at setting the odds. So the bookie always wins. So what made you start training martial arts?
Guys like you, actually it's funny because when guys like you started to get into the content world, that's when I got inspired. I think Joe Rogan's responsible for that, for highlighting a lot of MMA fighters and then seeing them talk about the love of the game.
Yeah.
that made me really interested in it. And then I started looking and also Nate Diaz I was a big fan of him when I was younger.
Yeah,
but yeah, seeing
that's
you guys
so cool. You got to go train with Nate and stuff. You got to go to his place. Such a great dude, right?
Yeah, great guy.
So,
how's he doing?
He's doing really good. I was just with him last week in San Diego. We did some seminars out there hanging out. He's doing great.
Yeah, he won that fight against Jorge. It was
such a good fight. He sold that arena out. Unfortunately, he couldn't come to that, but that was such a good thing. Your buddy got chased.
Neon. Neon got
I was running out trying to save him. It looked like I was chasing him because I knew those guys might not listen to anyone else, but listen to me. I didn't want poor Neon to get beat up.
So when you were chasing, you were trying to protect him.
I wasn't going to let him beat him up, but I'm like, it's look, I'm trying to beat this guy up because I know they would listen to me, but not anyone else because they all respect me. And I'm like, I can't let him beat that guy up. He was a punk. Don't get me wrong. The guy was being a little shit, but I don't think they were actually going to beat him up. But I was scared maybe they would.
Yeah, just wanted to scare the shit out of him.
Yeah, so it shows me running. I'm like, oh, people don't think I'm going to beat up Neon, and I was just going there because I know I'm one of the few people those guys are listening to. I'm like, hey, don't beat this poor kid.
I didn't see you in the video, so I think you beat that.
Good.
Yeah, I didn't see you, but I mean, let's be real. He kind of deserved that. He did deserve that.
He deserved to get slapped. Like, he's so disrespectful what he said to Nate, and it's like he deserved to get slapped, but I didn't want him to actually get hurt. He's a kid, and he got chewed out. But you know, Mighty Mouse, who's an amazing fighter. There was a clip in the car, and he's just chewing him out, being like, "I told you, don't do that." Speaking to him like a child. It's like, bro, grow up. You just don't do childish stuff like that.
Yeah, he's got some stuff. I mean, he's 20 now, so he's not that young.
No, it's kind of, he deserves to get slapped for sure, but I was just scared those guys were going to hurt him.
Yeah, those are a lot of guys. It's like fucking this whole crew.
And some of those guys they're in the Stockton crew, but they're not that close to us, and some of those guys are a little crazy. So I was like, I better help him just in case. You never know what those guys are going to do.
What does Nate have coming up?
Nothing signed. It's hard because he's such a big star name, but it's hard to get something outside the UFC, but the UFC don't pay him as well. I want to see him fight Conor again.
Yeah, but I think Diaz, McGregor, that makes the most sense, I think, for both of their careers right now. I don't know if McGregor's really ready to do like Michael Chandler or anyone.
No.
I think he loses. So.
I told Chandler too because he's waiting for that fight. I'm like, I don't think Conor's going to fight you. And he's like, no, it's set. And sure enough, he pulled out. I think Conor wants to fight someone like Nate. That's a marquee super fight.
Very close head to head. I think I can go either way. To be honest, I think Nate wins.
I think Nate wins it, but it's the way he's been training and stuff now versus Conor. But like everyone's going to tune in for that. That's like a super fight people want to see. I mean, Chandler's great. No, don't get me wrong, but because people aren't going to tune in the same way they would for Nate versus Conor. But they both want to get paid in the UFC. Hopefully they'll pay them both.
I think the last time I saw you was that Power Slap day.
That's right. Yeah.
That when I was put on the list.
It was so weird.
People don't understand. Can you tell them what happened?
Yeah. We were at the Power Slap thing, and in security guard that I know, they go, we were handed a list of Sneako, and he's told he wasn't back. So there's a VIP section for everyone else, and all the security, they always treat me great. They let me walk right through. I went to walk through with you, and they just stopped me right away. And then I was like, why are you guys being a dick? And one of the guys had privately told me before, they literally handed a picture of you and said, don't let this guy in the VIP area. You were the only guy they showed. I'm like, wow, that is weird.
Yeah, I want to figure out.
I don't know what that was over. I don't know what that was about. I don't know who gave those orders, but I trust the guy that told me that. And obviously it was true the way they freaked out when you tried walking back. They never spoke to me like that. The bouncers were always so cool to me. They were just like, whoa, when I tried walking in with you. It was so weird.
It felt like Osama bin Laden.
It was strange. I'm like, wow, this is weird. I guess my friend wasn't lying when he said that.
Could it be a multitude of reasons.
Yeah. So another interesting thing, I remember I picked you up one time and wanted you to work out with the Bashara brothers because they're fellow Muslims, and I'm like, oh, you guys would get along. I picked you up and you're like, oh, I'm sparring Sean Strickland. I go, wait, what? No, dude, he's not nice like us. The dude can be a dick. Like, I'm friends with Sean, but like he's gonna try to hurt you. But he's
getting more red pill, Sean. I see him talking about Israel more and how we shouldn't fund them.
Yeah, I've definitely had some talks with Sean, but those are private. We'll see. I
had a feeling you played a part in that because I saw him tweet about like how much money we're giving away to. I'm like, Jake must have been in his ear.
I'm not saying anything, but but anyways, but you had a lot of courage to spar Sean. This guy's like 230 pounds, way bigger than you, a world champion. That took a lot of courage to go in there. Even a lot of fighters were like looking at you, being like, "Are you sure you want to do this, Sneako?" And you took a beating like a man. Like he never put you down. I mean, he beat the crap out of you, but you took it like a man. You never complained. I think you earned a lot of respect from fighters that day because guys are like, "Wow, this kid is tough." He took a beating. He didn't cry about it. He didn't, and you still worked out with the Basha brothers after that. Like, what was that moment like doing that situation?
I was a little bit out of it. It was good though. It makes you want to keep on training. I think towards the beginning of the year I was way more focused up, and then the summer came and I started traveling a lot. But I was really focused on MMA in the beginning of the year. I definitely got to bring it back. I think that would elicit more respect from people if I was a more proficient fighter and I also put on some size. I keep saying that, but I get disrespected sometimes, and I don't think it would happen if I had more of that presence. So I'm getting sick of that.
Yeah, I think you're true, because I'm very, very rarely people disrespect me because they know, there'll be consequences. Like I don't know, the guy Mike Jackson was talking crap about me.
I saw he called them he called you a Nazi or something.
Yeah, right. And then we agreed to fight each other on site. He fought. We both fought in UFC in the same weight. I walk in the gym and I see him there. I'm like, oh, it's time. Let's go, boy. And he starts making excuses like, oh, no, I meant like we can fight in Houston instead. I'm like, no, bro, we have an agreement. So when I literally starts running around the gym, I caught him, throw him on the ground, start slapping him. Yeah. I got dragged off. He pressed charges on me. Called the cops. Pressed charges.
Pressing charges. Do you still face those charges?
I got the case dismissed. But fighters get in fight gyms pretty often. The fact that he challenged me to a fight and then press charges. That guy's the biggest bitch. Right?
I didn't even know that was like you're allowed to do that. Literally a fight gym.
Yeah, it was so ridiculous. But what do you think? I know a lot of people were very critical of Sean Strickland because he went way in the fight where a lot of people were mad at him for going too hard on you. I thought it was a little ridiculous, but I think it was also good that you kind of realized that you agreed to spar him, so you kind of got.
Yeah, no, I'm not upset about that. And I said this before. In a weird way, I'm grateful because. I mean, if it wasn't filmed, I probably would not be. But like the amount of respect that I gained and how that changed people's perception. Same thing for Rabbi Shmuley. Yeah. Like I'm grateful because he made himself look bad to help me look good. And in a way, that conversation that was supposed to happen. I like having conversations like that because then you get to test where your abilities are at as a man.
No, you showed. You won't do it often, but you showed you have courage. People ask me, "Were you mad when Sean did that?" And I go, "A little bit, but I wasn't that mad because I did tell you he was going to try to hurt you."
Yeah, and I knew that it was supposed to happen.
So,
and it helped me face something that I would never be able to face without that. Like he gave me something in a way. Like when else am I going to be able to fight a UFC champion? Going full on and know that I did that. So now I have something that other people don't have. Yeah,
you took a lot of hard shots.
And the people don't know what they're going to be like in that scenario. Now I know I have that capability and knowledge. I want to see how Sean's doing. I liked him before, but even before that sparring, I liked it. Speaking about wokeness, I think it's really good. And roasting the Canadian reporter, all that stuff. That stuff I really like. And I hope he's doing well.
I think he's doing good. I've been trying to get my podcast. I think we'll get on at some point, but he's like hard to get on a podcast. But I'll try to connect you guys, see if he wants to not spar you again, but like train you.
He said he would. Sean Strickland said if I spar him, he's going to do the interview.
So I'll remind him when I see him.
He owes me. He
does owe you an interview. You're right. He did agree to that. So he does owe you an interview. So I'll tell him when I see him.
And it would be good. I mean, there's a good build up to the story, and I respect the guy.
Yeah, so. But a lot of fighters are really critical of Sean for that.
Oh, they were. And I think there's too much, and I think that it's necessary that we talk. Because every time I talk to someone new, they're like, Sean, what an asshole, what a fucking, like, everyone always says that. And I don't think that he's a bad guy.
No. And that was why I kind of had to stick up for Sean a little bit, because it's like, well, I did tell you he's going to try to hurt you.
And he said
I think other people told you that too, right?
He has a reputation for doing that.
Everyone was telling you at the gym that day, like, hey, bro, he's going to hurt you.
Everybody says that. So I knew what I was stepping into. So I want to see him kind of clear that. I think the reason he's avoiding it is because he's like, oh, fuck, why'd I do that? I think he regrets it a bit. He's probably like, oh, that fucking influence.
I don't think he minds being the bad guy. I think he likes being the bad guy.
Oh, okay. I wouldn't like that.
I think he enjoys being the bad guy.
Really?
Yeah. And I don't think you realized you had such a bad concussion, because didn't you go up to Nate and spar with Nate? So obviously was going light with you, but you went and sparred Nate a couple days later.
I sparred Nate 2 days later, and then I went back to Miami, and then everyone in the gym is like, yo, we got to work on it. You took so many shots, and they're like, let's do defensive drills. And so I'm here covering up, and they're just hitting, and I did a drill where I'm supposed to catch punches, and after that drill, that's what I was like, all right, now I have a concussion.
Like, you should not have been sparring Nate Diaz after that, but you also can't say no if Nate Diaz is like, you want to spar.
They said in the gym, his coach is like, no, you have to do 3 rounds. I'm like, I'll do 1. I just sparred Sean. Nope. This is the rule.
Have to. If you go to the gym.
Rules of the gym. So I did it.
You got the gym rules. If you get, there's rules set. You got to do certain rounds and stuff. I think that's why our team was successful.
But Nate didn't want to do it on camera. Like he said, they cut the camera off. So
no, he doesn't like filming a lot of stuff. But I'm sure he was not near as mean as Sean. I'm sure he hit you a little bit. But
oh no, he was. It was like, come on.
Yeah, playing around. But yeah, Nate's a phenomenal boxer and such a good dude.
He is. Yeah, he can. I don't know how his stamina's like that. This is like some of these guys are freaks in nature. Like Trump at 78. He isn't. I think Dana White was just on a podcast talking about how Trump doesn't even drink water. He drinks Coca-Cola. I can imagine. I've never seen him drink water. He's a soda guy, burger, milkshakes, American hot dogs. He likes to eat golf course food. Yeah. But he's a tank. He's still up at 78 doing all this stuff. Nate Diaz is like, he smokes and he parties and stuff. People know this stuff. It's public. But he still has some of the best conditioning I've seen of a fighter, especially at his age. Like Like, some people are just built different.
Well, Nate, this weekend, tell the story. He's like, the reason I got tough is one night, with the first time in Vegas, he was, I don't know, he was like 17 or something. We were supposed to train in the morning. We went out and just drank all night. And Nate's like, oh, cool, we're not training tomorrow. And all of a sudden, I'm waking him up in the morning, like, we're training. He was just so hungover. And we went to the gym and just mobbed people up. And he's like, after that, I go, well, if Jake's gonna make me train, that means I can drink and still go train the next day. I've been friends with him since like 16. Again, just such a good, honest, like loyal, like he's like a brother to me, basically.
Yeah, you know a lot of these guys for a long time. I forget that.
Nick, Nate, yeah, like we all came up training together, which is unusual in fighting. Usually everyone like switches to power teams, but we were like him and Gil Melendez. We were all like teenagers together, coming up all at the same gym, just young, broke, poor, angry kids with nothing. We all taught each other and succeeded. Like we helped coach each other. And luckily, we've been able to keep our brotherhood all the years. No falling outs. It's rare in life. Yeah, that's why I'm talking. That's why I was making fun of your industry, because everyone's always talking shit. I know. Like we would never do stuff like that. It's so weird seeing that. Like someone I had people come up and like talk shit about Nate and then want a picture with me or something. It's like, get the fuck away from me. You think you can insult my friend and get a picture with me? It's like, I don't roll that way. Like we don't. That's not how we are in our world. So it's just so different seeing that.
It's a completely different world. It's very foreign, and it's not even just like people of my generation. It's like older people. It's so commonplace now. I've had so many people turn on me, or like, it's just, and I think especially politics aside, I think, if you're friends in real life, like that should be paramount.
Dude, friendships is so important, loyalty. But loyalty is a two-way street. So if people aren't showing it back to you, then it's like they're just taking from you. And I've been so fortunate. I didn't realize how good the fight world was, where we're loyal to each other. We always helped each other out. I would help Nick train for a fight, but I knew afterwards I could call him and he'd help me train for a fight. Other guys I would help train for a fight, and then I call him afterwards, like, oh, I'm not training right now. And that's just never how it was in our crew. We were always helping each other, which is why we were successful. You need people around you to help you elevate and grow.
Yeah, you need to have that crew of people. That's what I'm looking for in Florida. I'm wondering where to go. I was thinking, I like being back in New York. It was good to be, because I have my OG friends. It was every time I go back to New York, I'm like, oh yeah, I have like real friends. I don't have these industry streamer friends. These people would never switch on me. They have my back. I have theirs. And it was just simple things like bro code. Like you don't even need to discuss that. It's understood. With a streamer friend or an influencer friend, you have to look at them like they're going to be, even when you give them information,
you gotta be careful what you say.
They're downloading that information, ready to, like, they're like, oh, this is a clip.
But like you, I know I can share private information from. That's what I clicked right away. I'm good at reading people. I'm like, oh, this is a good dude. That's why I was so confused, all the hate you got. I could just good read people, like, oh, this is a good, genuine, honest dude.
Where do you think it comes from, from your perspective?
The loyalty or the fakeness?
Why do so many people turn on me like that?
I think they're just so out for themselves. They do whatever's trendy.
Yeah.
No, I was trying to figure out too. It was weird when people turn on you. That's what I was thinking, because you always are so loyal to people, and I see them turn on you. And even, you and Nick have a weird relationship, because Nick loves you, I think, but you guys like battle sometimes. But it's like, but I think he still does like you a lot. But it's just weird. You're always fighting with these, and some of these guys like fully turning on you. It's weird. I think maybe they're jealous. You've been so successful without a YouTube and stuff.
It could be that, and I think it's also what I talk about. If you speak about God and you speak about, like, I talk about Islam a lot. I think that's off-putting to people. So you're receptive to it, like because you went to the masjid and you're open to it.
That's actually interesting. After I think it was the day after you sparred Sean Strickland.
No, the same day.
Same day. Right after you invited me to mosque, and at first I'm like, oh, I'm not Muslim, I can't come. And you're like, no, bro, he's come. You can come in. And I'm just like, I was a little nervous to go, and I went there and I was treated so good despite not being a Muslim. I was like, wow, this is cool. Everyone's like friendly, so nice, respectful. There were several fighters that didn't know were Muslims from the gym that were in there. We all prayed together. They were okay with me not being a Muslim. Everyone was so friendly after. I'm like, okay. That's why I don't know why people shit in Islam. I've always been treated so good by Muslims. I've been to some of those countries, and of course there's bad Muslims. There's bad of everybody, yeah. But as a whole, I've had great relationships with Muslims. So I don't like all this shitting on Islam stuff I see.
Yeah, there's so much propaganda. There's so many people that think it's still a terrorist religion, and people have this negative idea from years and years of bad press. But I think that's a big reason too. A lot of the people that have turned on me, a lot of it didn't happen before I was Muslim. When I was like a degenerate and I was drinking stuff, everyone's fine. They don't get your worldview doesn't offend them at all. They're like, okay, he does what he does. Now that I'm a Muslim and I speak about it and I try to encourage, and I think people think that I put out this idea that I'm better or like I'm morally better. I'm not.
I've never got that attitude from you.
But when you speak about Islam and you're against it, I think it comes off that way.
Yeah.
Where like, because your worldview challenges what they do, you know, the gambling stuff or the drinking or the partying or the porn, stuff like that. It makes them reflect, and I think they get upset about their own decisions.
I've seen some of these guys like try to give you drinks. I feel like they're trying to do it to like set you up. You don't take drinks, of course, but I feel like they're trying to give you a drink and like record it to be like, oh, I caught him drinking and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah, so many that's happened with influencers.
I can just feel these guys trying to set you up.
Yeah, I was at a club after a fight, and I shouldn't be there or whatever, but it was the UFC. A lot of the fighters were there. I think it was right after Sugar Sean won. So many influencers were there.
Oh yeah.
And then all these like, bring the girl here, or like, oh, here's a drink, and then like, you know, I would be like dancing or something, or like holding a cup with water.
Yeah, but
and then people would bring out their phone.
It's still fine to dance with girls and stuff. It's not like you can't do that as a Muslim.
You're not supposed to.
Oops.
You're not supposed to. I mean, there's levels of sin. That's not the end of the world, but yeah, you're not supposed to do that.
But I think, you look at it too. There's different levels of sin. Are you trying to be a good person? That's my Muslim friends tell me, at least. It's like, are you at least making an effort? That's more important. God will view things at different levels, you know.
I mean, I think most Muslims don't understand how it is to be public, especially because I'm new to it. They don't know what it's like to be under scrutiny. Like when there was this one dude who started saying that I slept with his assistant and all this stuff. I had people like parasocial people that like, people are invested into streaming world so much. They're like, why didn't you tell us? Why didn't you tell us? Like, do you think that you're entitled to for me to tell you like what girls have interacted with? Some people are like, oh look, I just took a shit. You want me to update you with everything?
Weird, right?
I think influencers have this false idea that you're fraudulent if you don't reveal everything. But nobody does.
Should be private, exactly. No one needs to know who you're sleeping with or you are.
It's not their business.
It's not their business.
Just because you're a fan of what I do does not mean you're entitled to know every detail about my life. And it's not about being fraudulent. There's a difference between promoting something or sinning and repenting, right? I think a lot of influencers think that, oh, I'm real because I show all my sins. No, we shouldn't be encouraging our audience to fall into sin. It's a very simple concept that they don't get.
No, I mean, I agree. I think, we should do our, we're all going to sin occasionally, but we should do our best, do the best we can. And also, we should keep large parts of our life private. There's a lot of things I don't share. People don't need to know everything aspect about my life.
No, they don't. And it doesn't help. I mean, it's not even, because content is not just about like showing your life. It's about putting a message out there. It's about making content. It's about entertaining. It's not just like a mirror. You're not just showing people when you sleep and when you go to the bathroom.
No, exactly. And I know I do things I shouldn't do sometimes, so I'm not going to lecture other people to do it, but like, oh, I know I shouldn't drink very often, but occasionally I do. Sometimes I'll do. I mean, I haven't done drugs in a while, luckily, but there's been times where I've fucked up and done drugs. It's like sometimes you make mistakes in life.
Which everybody understands. Like you drink sometimes, but you're not going to tell people you should drink. You know that it's not good for you.
No, it's not, exactly.
It's very simple. But what I've also realized is that Muslims are held to a different standard than every other religion, right? You see people call me a fake Muslim, right?
Yeah.
No one ever gets called a fake Christian. Have you noticed that? No one ever gets called a fake Hindu. When does Rabbi Shmuley get called a fake Jew?
You make a great point.
Rabbi Shmuley, even though he sells dildos with his daughter, no one says you're a fake Jew. Even though there's Christians that do cocaine and party all the time. They wear the cross, they kill people, and no one ever calls them fake. Like, as long as they say Christ is king, you're still a Christian, they're saved. But Muslims, I don't know, people have this perception that you need to be perfect just because you're Muslim, but that's not, no human is perfect.
No, it's been heavily pushed against in the U.S., and it's so similar to Christianity. They both look at Christ, one is the Son of God, one is their top prophet. It's like they both believe in one God. In my opinion, the same God. Some people argue it's not.
It is.
Allah and God, it's the same thing.
Allah means God in Arabic. It's the same.
I know some Christians get mad when you say that, but to me it feels like it's the same God.
It literally is.
The religions seem very similar to me, and I feel like they've been intentionally divided.
It's trying to divide. I mean, I tried for a while to do a Christian Muslim bridge. It's just like when you do that and they're in the same place, the bickering is just, there's so much. I think now that the election has happened, things have cooled down. It was getting really tense before the election. I think now Trump's president, it's like we can breathe a bit,
It's people should be like I said, you're not telling them, hey, convert Muslim, or if they ask you will, but there's no reason for them to attack you for being Muslim, in my opinion. And, I fell for the propaganda a little bit when I was young. 9/11, it was pushed so heavy, but then I made Muslim friends, and I realized how some of my most loyal friends, and they're also a lot bigger as a whole of huge family networks. Like, I know people from Afghanistan, they all have their families, they all stay together, and the West is losing that. We don't have the family connections a lot of these other countries have. I think that's a big part of the problem of probably why the woke shit and stuff's pushing in.
The woke shit is, it swung one way, it's about to swing the other way for a while. I think we got a good I'm optimistic about the future.
The woke stuff changed a lot already, because when I first, 4 or 5 years ago on Twitter, my stuff was so controversial. Now it's not anymore.
It's normalized.
Yeah, like, because I was one of the earliest people to push against some of the trans nonsense, and I used to get like death threats for that, serious hate. People would be like, they're scared to like my tweets. Now that's fully mainstream.
So normal to make fun of LGBT and trans.
Yeah, right. Mocking that. Remember the first time I like mocked the Gay Pride Month?
Oh, yeah,
it was all hate. Now everyone's doing it.
Everyone
that was like 3 years ago. I think the first time I mocked Pride Parade. 3 or 4 years ago, the first time I mocked the Pride Month.
Trump deserves a lot of credit for getting rid of the wokeness, for making people distrust the media, and for getting rid of cancel culture. Because look, the guy has felonies. People call him a rapist, and people just don't care. Like,
I was like, whatever.
Like, people really don't care anymore. Also, I have to give credit, even though like the back and forth with Nick, whatever. But "Your Body, My Choice," I think is the funniest.
Such a banger tweet.
That's one of the times you see someone say, "I wish I wrote that."
I wish I wrote that tweet. That was just such a banger. 10 out of 10. It was like, oh my God, that's
and
so
now it's
good.
like people in school, you get like kids who are just like, they're reclaiming that essence, because boys are never going to be able to resonate with the left idea of what masculinity is.
So let's switch back to the old YouTube days, because I never really followed YouTube. That was like, I was too old for that generation. But I know a lot of the new kids you read, they want to become a YouTuber instead of movie star. So I know you got in there. What was the main content you were pushing?
I mean, I think the most defining thing was, I did everything. I was doing street interviews, short films, documentary stuff, even some funny videos too, comedy stuff. But I think the most defining things were the short films, the well-edited videos because I was a proficient editor.
Yeah.
I know how to do behind the scenes as well as I know how to be in front of the camera. That's the stuff that I want people to see and that I want to get back into. When I'm done streaming, I want to go into documentaries again. Like the one, I don't know if you saw my Bosnia documentary.
Haven't, but I should watch that.
Yeah, that one
documentary is so cool.
Yeah, I highly recommend people check it out. It's called Letter from Bosnia. It's pinned on my Twitter. Yeah, that's where people can see it. But that's the type of stuff that I think, describes what I was doing on YouTube.
Yeah, so you were doing like completely complex stuff at a young age.
Yeah, pretty much. It was different than YouTube content. YouTube content is, well, for when people want to be YouTubers, they want to do like fun Mr. Beast videos, apples and pools, and
they just really want to be famous, which can be fun sometimes.
Just stupid stuff. But I don't recommend it. If anyone's watching this and want to be famous, I don't recommend that pursuit. I think it makes a lot of people go crazy. I don't think a lot of people can handle it. I think it's a lot of mental stress. Regardless of what people think about how easy this job is, I don't think it's a pursuit that's worth it.
It's just not that easy. Like I said, streaming video is it's a lot of work streaming all day. And it's, you get some fame that way, but but some of these guys just make clowns of themselves. Like the guy we were talking about earlier, like Fauci, some of these guys, they just make fools of themselves. And the other guy that got chased by Nate's crew, what's the guy's name? These guys just make clowns of themselves.
Yeah, it's not, what do you get? You get to take some pictures with people. At the end of the day, you're alone in your house. And then what really matters is the real relationships. These like meaningless things that people take a picture of you in public, that's not anything substantial. It just gives you a little dopamine high when you're out.
Yeah, I think these guys are not chasing real moments. They're just chasing fame. And that's why they'll sell you under, because they only care about fame, not real long relationships. I have so many friends that have had 20, 30 years. Those are important relationships in life.
That's who's going to have your back when you really need it.
And that's what, I know in life you have ups and downs. If you have a down, I know my friends are still going to be there. And I know other guys that have gotten famous, they have a down and no one was there for them anymore because they've been scumbags.
There's a perfect example of this is Aiden Ross, because he's one of the most influential streamers. He paved the way for a lot of people. He kind of created the scene in a lot of ways. And he's gone up and down with cancel culture. He says that there was only two genders. He's been a Trump supporter. And then all those people that benefited from him, they disappear when he's down. Yep. Like they're only there when it benefits them, and the people that he thought were his friends, they're gone when he really needs them. And that's when friendship is really tested.
That's when you need friends. If something really bad happens in your life, that's when you need them.
All those guys are gone. Yeah. All those guys are gone.
People need to remember when those guys you called when you need them don't call you back, cut those people out of your life. That's what we need to realize. Loyalty is a two-way street. Don't be loyal to scumbags that aren't loyal to you.
And that's the type of things that will keep you up at night. You're like, these people are only there because they want the benefit from me.
I learned that a while ago. I started paying attention. I was always so loyal. That was a fault of mine. So loyal, so loyal. Then you realize people are stabbing you in the back, and I'm like, wait, why am I being loyal to this guy that's just using me? So once I learned that, life gets way better, and you just keep your circle small.
So sometimes you think if you have a pure heart or good heart, you think that people will reciprocate your loyalty. Like if I show loyalty, I'll get it back. You need to see it. You can't just expect them to do a favor for you just because you did a favor for them. Like they're only going to do it if they actually value who you are.
And exactly. And people realize too, it's not like you're trading favors. You just always try to help your friends. And it's not like an exact keeping track, but his friends need help, I'll always try to help them. But if you call them one time and all of a sudden they don't, that's when you're like, oh, fuck this guy.
So
yeah,
don't try to be famous. Anyone watching?
just be authentic. If you're trying to be famous, like be authentic, because there's just so much fake people. If you're authentic and you're make stuff that's good content, and it can go. If you're making good stuff and different, everyone's trying to copy the same thing, and it's always, the trends are always changing. So if you're trying to copy what's popular now, it probably won't be popular in 2 years.
And a lot of the fame is fake. You know that all these streamers viewbot their streamer. They don't have any live viewers.
I didn't realize that. A lot of people tell me, people like, oh, you should buy views to your YouTube and stuff.
No,
I'm like, buy views to my YouTube? Why would I do that? Like, I guess to get sponsors, but I didn't realize people are doing that. A lot of it's fake.
It creates the podcast on a fake atmosphere, and it's not long lasting. But every single one of these streamers view bots.
Someone was telling me that. I didn't realize that.
They all do.
It was crazy.
I've never have, and I never will.
No, I won't either. In fact, people tell me, oh, you have to do that. That's what everyone's doing. I'm like, no, that's lame. I'm not doing that.
And it's like they really think 60,000 people watching guys sleep. Like they'll be sleeping on stream, snoring for 10 hours, and there's 60,000 people. Like it's ridiculous. And their tweet promoting the stream has no likes, but then they have 30. Like there's nothing genuine about it, but it just boosts your self-esteem. That's the proof. If people, and they're not even really doing it for sponsors, because most of the streamers don't get sponsors. They just view bot because it boosts their self-esteem and it makes them feel good about themselves.
Well, Instagram's the same. I have a friend that has an agency that sells fake followers. I guess a lot of big celebrities do it too.
Oh yeah, Miami's filled with these people.
So some of the real celebrities even, so it'll say maybe they have 5 million, but it'll say they have like 30, 40, 50 million. And there's people, it's a random person, and they have like 4 million followers. You're just like, yeah, okay, bro.
Yeah, like who are you? Like, how would that even be possible? The best metric is to see how much engagement they're getting. If people are actually like commenting and responding to it.
Well, you can read the comments too, because sometimes the comments, they're all just generic. You can get fake comments even.
Or like Indian guys, like, nice, very good. Like,
exactly. It's so easy to spot. It's like so embarrassing, people that are going to pay for fake followers. I think it's embarrassing, at least. Like, why would you do that?
It is, but yeah, stay real. I think that's what the future is. People want to. Trump's election is a perfect example. People want authenticity. They want what's real. They don't care about like this fraud, felony, fake rape charges.
Grab it by the pussy.
Grab it right by the pussy.
Grab it by the pussy. You got to grab it by the pussy.
Yes, sir.
No, that's authentic, and I agree. And I think that's why both of us have been successful in life. We're authentic, and it does create a lot of haters. Is the weird part. You know, being real creates a lot of people hating you because they're not, so they get like jealous. But I think that's the way to move forwards in life.
It's a reflection of their own flaws.
Yeah. But did your YouTube grow fast, or did it take a long time, years of hard work?
It took a long time. I didn't get 1 million subscribers until it took like 7, 8 years. Wow, almost 10.
1 million subscribers, a lot. So you were really big on YouTube.
I had 2 million before even before I started streaming, I had 1.3 million just from video, from like a different genre. It's funny because like now when I go back to New York and stream, I have all these liberals with like nose rings. They come up to you like, I used to watch you. And then people who now watch my streaming, all these conservatives like, what the fuck? Because they don't know that it was a completely different audience.
Different, yeah. But really, like we both get called far right, but really in the middle is what's weird. But
you think you're in the middle?
I'm a little right, I guess.
Yeah.
Not far right. No, but there's some things I'm like, I don't know. I'm not necessarily against things like free healthcare. Like why if someone gets cancer, should they go broke? I don't really think so. I think our healthcare system's a mess. It would need to be cheaper and fixed. But I think it's not fair that someone can't afford medical. That's an extremely left-wing view.
I guess, but I think the better way to classify right or left is really social issues. When it comes to social, the taxes, stuff like that, that's a separate. I guess it still falls.
Those things are really important, though. They want us. We're fighting over trans, but these other things are important. But I don't want to pay the same amount of taxes. The things are medical is expensive. Is the problem? It's because we overpay. Almost every other country has free medical, but they don't pay the same rates we do, or every other industrialized country.
What do you think is the best example of a country with good healthcare?
Well, I went to hospital in Thailand, and I thought it was going to be absolutely terrible. It wasn't free, but it was so much better than American hospitals and so much cheaper. That was when I first go, wow, America needs to be. I've had 2 staph infections. I went in the U.S. It was like $3,000, the worst experience, hours, terrible care. They didn't even treat it right. I had to go to a second doctor. Thailand, it was amazing. $200. The doctor was way better, fixed me right away, clean, in and out. I was like, why is it a tenth the price and so much better in Thailand? It shouldn't be that way. You know, and it's just. It's the corruption between like the insurance companies or the drug prices. Everything's just corrupt in America. It's a problem. Basically, it needs to be scrapped and redone. And there still should be private hospitals you pay for, but there should be like a basic free care, I think, for people.
I mean, that's the problem. Capitalism and communism both flawed. Both ideas. There's going to be flaws in each one. So. That's the contradictory part, because even then I voted for Trump and all the Muslims are like, oh, Trump's a capitalist, he doesn't stand for this, he doesn't believe this. We're never going to align perfectly with any politician, but
overall I think capitalism is definitely the best system, but again, it has flaws.
It does.
It does. But I do, America's pretty great. There's guys like us, I don't know if you grew up poor, middle class or what, but I grew up pretty poor, and I have so many friends who grew up pretty poor that are all millionaires now. Now it's really hard to become like a billionaire here, but it's not that hard to become a millionaire in America. Not that $1 million is crazy money anymore, but but it's pretty easy to become not easy to say, but it's not the hardest place to make a good living here.
What would you recommend people do? How do they go from being poor to because that is, I've never heard someone say it's easy to become a millionaire.
Not easy, but easier than anywhere else. Yeah. I work my ass off, I guess. So easy is that was definitely the wrong statement. But I have multiple friends that have become millionaires that grew up super poor. You just have to pick whatever it wants to be and work your ass off. Whatever. There's so many different ways you could do it, but everyone said don't put your eggs in one basket. But some things it's better just find something to hyper focus on.
I agree. I don't think you should diversify too much. I think it's better to hone in on one skill. And stick to what you know.
Yeah, when fighting, that's all I was doing. When you're doing too many projects at once, I cut a couple projects out now. I was going to start like 3 or 4 projects at once, and I'm like, the podcast is so much more work than I thought. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to cut some of these other projects out at least for the next year and add these next year.
Yeah, because you're not going to be able to succeed really if your attention is diverted on so many things.
No, that's why I disagree with it. Don't put your eggs all in one basket. Like sometimes the best thing you can do is do that. So, well, hey man, thanks so much for coming on. We have somewhere else we have to be, but really appreciate the interview. We'll talk.
Jay Shields, I appreciate it.